Imagine just for a moment that the most powerful tool for a meaningful, fulfilled life isn't something you can buy, earn, or be given by others. It's already within you, waiting to be discovered and harnessed. This isn't just a thought experiment, it's a reality grounded in the wisdom of Buddhism, a philosophy that has guided countless individuals through the ages toward living with purpose, resilience, and tranquility. Buddhism teaches us that the key to a life well lived isn't found in external accolades or material success, but in mastering the art of valuing ourselves through the virtues of compassion, mindfulness, equanimity, and detachment. It's a powerful reminder that despite the chaos and challenges of the external world, we hold within us the unshakable foundation for our own well-being and happiness. We're peeling back the layers of societal expectations and self-doubt to uncover the timeless Buddhist principles that can transform the way we see ourselves and our place in the world. This journey is about more than just self-improvement. It's about rediscovering our inherent worth and learning to live in alignment with our deepest values. So, if you're ready to unlock the doors to personal freedom, resilience, and fulfillment, you're in the right place. Let's embark on this adventure together, exploring how the wisdom of Buddhism can illuminate the path to valuing ourselves like never before. The only thing I ask of you is not to skip this video in any way. If you're here, consider yourself different from the majority. Consider yourself an exception. Now act like one and don't skip any part of the content. Number 1, accepting less than you deserve. Accepting less than you deserve is a common experience for many of us. Whether it's staying in a job that drains our energy, remaining in relationships that don't uplift us, or not pursuing our dreams out of fear, we often settle and compromise. But why do we do this? Is it because of fear or a desire for comfort? Perhaps it's a bit of both. Buddhism teaches us that our true worth and essence aren't defined by external circumstances. Whether we find ourselves in luxury or hardship, what truly matters is how we perceive and respond to our situation. We may not have control over everything in our lives, but we do have control over our perceptions, judgments, and actions. When we accept less than we deserve, we're essentially allowing external circumstances to dictate our worth. Buddhism invites us to challenge this notion and ask ourselves whether our current situation aligns with our values. Are we responding in a way that reflects our true worth? If the answer is no, Buddhism doesn't leave us in despair. Instead, it empowers us to change our perception, choose our response, and thereby transform our reality. We're reminded that our worth isn't determined by our job title, relationship status, or material possessions. Rather, it's determined by our ability to live in accordance with our values and to act with compassion, wisdom, and integrity, regardless of the circumstances. Let's not settle for less than we deserve, not out of entitlement or arrogance, but out of a deep recognition of our inherent worth. By responding to life's challenges with strength, resilience, and compassion, we're not just surviving, we're thriving in the true spirit of Buddhism. Number 2, minimizing your achievements. Buddhism, with its profound understanding of human nature, doesn't encourage us to boast or inflate our egos. Instead, it teaches us the importance of cultivating mindfulness and compassion. Acknowledging our achievements is not about feeding our pride. It's about recognizing the effort, discipline, and perseverance it took to get there. It's about honoring our commitment to our goals and our adherence to our values. Let's break it down a bit. In Buddhism, virtues like wisdom, compassion, generosity, and mindfulness are central. When you achieve something, no matter how big or small, it's often because you've practiced these virtues. Maybe it took compassion to help a friend in need, mindfulness to stay focused on your task, or wisdom to make a difficult decision. When you attribute your success to luck or diminish it as something anyone could do, you're not just undervaluing the outcome, you're undervaluing the virtues you practice to get there. So how do we change this mindset? How do we start acknowledging our achievements without tipping into arrogance? The Buddhist approach is all about balance and honesty. It's about saying, yes, I worked hard for this. Yes, I faced challenges and overcame them. And yes, this achievement is a reflection of my effort and my virtues. It's about giving yourself credit where credit is due, not for the sake of your ego, but for the sake of truth. Now, I want you to think about something you've achieved recently. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Think about the virtues you practiced to achieve it. Maybe you showed incredible compassion. Maybe you exercised patience, or perhaps you cultivated mindfulness to stay focused. Whatever it is, take a moment to acknowledge it. Recognize the virtues behind the achievement. This exercise isn't about patting yourself on the back. It's about seeing the truth of your own character and effort. Embracing this Buddhist practice can transform the way we view our successes and ourselves. It moves us away from false modesty and towards a genuine appreciation of our own strengths and capabilities. It teaches us that acknowledging our achievements isn't about ego. It's about recognizing the virtues we've embodied and the hard work we've put in. Number 3, prioritizing others' needs over your own. It's a common scenario, isn't it? Whether it's staying late at work to help a colleague, skipping your morning run to make breakfast for your family, or putting your own dreams on hold to support someone else's, it feels noble, selfless, even heroic at times. But here's the twist. Constantly putting others first at the expense of your own well-being can lead to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self. It's like trying to fill cups from an empty pitcher. Eventually, you run out. Buddhism isn't about being detached or selfish. In fact, it places great emphasis on compassion and the well-being of all sentient beings. However, it also teaches us the critical importance of self-care. Why? Because caring for oneself isn't selfish. It's the foundation of being able to care for others effectively. Buddhism reminds us that to be of service to others, we must first ensure that we are in a good place ourselves, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Let's unpack this a bit. Buddhism teaches us about the interconnectedness of all beings, understanding that our own well-being is intricately linked to the well-being of others. Our thoughts, beliefs, actions, and yes, self-care are within our control. The happiness and suffering of others, as much as we may wish otherwise, aren't directly under our control. What we can control, however, is how well equipped we are to offer help, support, and love to those around us. And that starts with taking care of ourselves. Think about it this way: when you're well rested, healthy, and at peace, how much more patient, understanding, and present are you for the people in your life? How much more effectively can you contribute to their well-being? This isn't just about physical health. It's about mental and emotional resilience. It's about having the inner resources to be compassionate, to offer wise counsel, and to be a source of stability and strength for others. So how do we strike this balance? How do we ensure we're not neglecting our own needs in the process of helping others? It starts with recognizing that self-care isn't a luxury or an afterthought. It's a necessity. It means making time for things that replenish us, whether that's meditation, reading, or simply spending a few quiet moments alone. It means setting boundaries and being okay with saying no when we need to. And it means doing these things not out of self-indulgence, but out of a commitment to being our best selves for the people we care about. I want to challenge you to think about one way you can prioritize your own well-being this week. Maybe it's committing to a daily walk, carving out time for a hobby you love, or setting boundaries around your work hours. Whatever it is, remember that this act of self-care isn't just for you. It's a way of ensuring that when you do show up for others, you're showing up as the best version of yourself. Number 4, struggling to accept compliments. Buddhism teaches us the importance of viewing ourselves with compassion and understanding. This means recognizing and acknowledging our strengths just as openly as we acknowledge our areas for improvement. It's about understanding our value, not in a self-centered way, but in a balanced and fair manner. Why do we struggle with accepting compliments? Often it's because we're viewing ourselves through a distorted lens. We might be focusing too much on our imperfections, or perhaps we're conditioned to believe that acknowledging our strengths somehow makes us arrogant. But here's a Buddhist perspective to consider. Humility is not about denying our strengths. It's about recognizing them in a grounded and realistic way. It's about seeing ourselves as we truly are, without the embellishments of ego or the shadows of insecurity. Buddhism teaches us that our worth is not diminished by acknowledging our achievements and strengths. In fact, accepting compliments graciously is a way to practice self-awareness and objectivity. It allows us to see the virtues we possess and the efforts we've made, giving us a clearer understanding of our true selves. When someone compliments us, they're often recognizing something genuine in us, something worth praising. Dismissing these moments robs us of the opportunity to see ourselves through another's eyes, to understand our impact on the world around us. So, how do we get better at accepting compliments? It starts with adjusting our mindset. When someone offers you praise, try to see it as a mirror being held up to your virtues and efforts. Instead of deflecting, take a moment to consider the truth in their words. You can practice by simply saying, "Thank you." No minimization, no deflection, just gratitude for the recognition of your efforts and qualities. Moreover, Buddhism encourages us to use these moments as opportunities for reflection. Ask yourself, what did I do to earn this praise? How does it reflect my virtues and efforts? This isn't about feeding your ego. It's about understanding and acknowledging the part of you that's capable of excellence and impact. Buddhism teaches us the importance of accepting and learning from the outcomes of our decisions. Every result, whether it's what we hoped for or not, holds valuable insights. It's an invitation to reflect, to understand what worked, what didn't, and how we can apply these lessons moving forward. This process of reflection and learning fosters self-trust. It reassures us that we are capable of navigating the uncertain waters of life, making decisions that reflect our values and growing from every experience. Number 5, excessive self-criticism. Buddhism teaches us the art of discernment, particularly about where we direct our mental energy. It tells us that obsessing over our flaws and failures, beating ourselves up for every perceived misstep, is like trying to sail a ship while ignoring the wind and tides. We're focusing on the wrong things. The Buddhist wisdom implores us to recognize that perfection is an illusion and unattainable mirage. The goal, instead, is progress. Continuous and deliberate steps towards becoming better versions of ourselves. Why do we fall into this trap of excessive self-criticism? Often, it's because we're measuring ourselves against impossible standards, ones that we wouldn't dream of holding anyone else to. We forget that being human inherently means being flawed, making mistakes, and most importantly, having the capacity to learn and grow from them. Buddhism offers a powerful antidote to this self-imposed tyranny, the practice of self-compassion and the pursuit of progress over perfection. Self-compassion from a Buddhist viewpoint isn't about cuddling ourselves or making excuses for our shortcomings. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that we would offer to a good friend. It's recognizing that setbacks are not indictments of our character, but part of the human experience. When we stumble, the Buddhist response isn't to berate ourselves, but to ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Embracing this mindset requires a shift in how we perceive our journey. Every effort, every attempt, even those that don't yield the results we hope for, is a step forward. Progress, not perfection, becomes our mantra. This doesn't mean we become complacent or indifferent to improvement. On the contrary, it means we pursue growth more fervently, but with the wisdom to know that growth is often non-linear, fraught with challenges, and beautifully imperfect. Number 6, constant comparison with others. Why is it so easy to fall into the comparison trap? Part of it is human nature. We have an innate tendency to gauge our own value and accomplishments against those of the people around us. But in the age of social media, this inclination is amplified to an unprecedented degree. We're bombarded with snapshots of others' lives that seem to showcase only the peaks, never the valleys, leading us to question the worth and significance of our own experiences. Buddhism offers a potent antidote to this malaise. The cultivation of self-awareness and gratitude for our own journey is key. It encourages us to redirect our gaze inward, to focus on our personal growth, virtues, and the progress we've made. Buddhism doesn't advocate for isolation or indifference to others, but promotes the idea of inspiration over comparison. It teaches us to admire the virtues and successes of others without diminishing our own value or progress. How can we apply Buddhist principles to combat the comparison trap? First, by practicing mindfulness and catching ourselves when we start comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. It's about reminding ourselves that social media is a curated gallery, not an accurate reflection of everyday life. Secondly, Buddhism teaches us the value of focusing on what's within our control, our efforts, our attitudes, our virtues. These are the seeds from which our unique journey grows. By concentrating on nurturing these seeds, we cultivate a garden that's rich with personal significance, independent of external validation or comparison. Lastly, gratitude plays a pivotal role. By fostering gratitude for our own experiences, challenges, and achievements, we anchor ourselves in the present and appreciate the richness of our own lives. This doesn't mean we become complacent. Rather, it empowers us to strive for improvement and growth from a place of contentment, not inadequacy. Number 7, lack of personal investment. Have you ever found yourself putting off that course you wanted to take, that hobby you wanted to start, or even neglecting your self-care routine? It's something many of us are guilty of. This isn't just about not having enough time or resources. At its core, it's often about not recognizing our own value. It's as if we're saying to ourselves, I'm not worth the effort. But here's the thing, Buddhism, with its profound insights into human nature and ethics, challenges us to view self-improvement not just as an activity, but as a form of self-respect. Buddhism teaches us that our capacity for mindfulness and compassion sets us apart, and it's through the cultivation of these that we find true fulfillment. The Buddha likened life to a garden. Just as a garden requires constant tending to flourish, so too does our inner world require attention and care. Neglecting our personal growth is akin to neglecting a garden. Without investment, both will fail to thrive. But why do we often hesitate to invest in ourselves? Sometimes it's because we're caught in the trap of immediate gratification, choosing fleeting pleasures over long-term fulfillment. Other times it's due to a deeper issue, a lack of self-esteem, or the belief that we're not worth the effort. Buddhism, however, provides a counter-narrative. It asserts that every individual possesses inherent worth and potential for enlightenment. Investing in our growth, be it through learning new skills, exploring hobbies, or practicing self-care, is a testament to recognizing and honoring that worth. How then can we start to make that investment in ourselves in line with Buddhist philosophy? It begins with shifting our mindset. We need to start seeing self-improvement as an essential, non-negotiable aspect of our lives. This doesn't mean overhauling our lives overnight. Instead, it's about making small, consistent investments in ourselves. It could be as simple as reading a book on a topic that fascinates us, dedicating a few minutes each day to meditation, or taking up a hobby that brings us joy. Moreover, Buddhism teaches us about the importance of mindfulness and self-awareness. This practice allows us to understand our strengths and areas for growth, guiding our personal investment efforts. By regularly taking stock of our lives, setting goals, and reflecting on our progress, we foster a sense of purpose and direction. This process of self-reflection and goal-setting isn't just about achieving external markers of success. It's about aligning our actions with our values, cultivating our virtues, and living a life of purpose and meaning. Another key aspect is embracing the concept of lifelong learning. The Buddha believed that wisdom was not a destination, but a journey. Adopting a mindset of curiosity and openness to new experiences can transform the way we view personal investment. It's not a chore, but an adventure, an opportunity to explore the vast landscapes of knowledge and experience that life has to offer. Number 8, seeking external validation. True validation comes from within, from living in alignment with our values and principles. Buddhism teaches that true peace and contentment arise from within, through understanding and embracing the nature of reality. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating mindfulness and awareness to recognize the impermanent and interconnected nature of existence. Why do we find ourselves seeking external validation? At its core, it's often rooted in insecurity and a deep-seated fear of not being enough. In Buddhism, this craving for external validation is seen as stemming from our attachment to the ego and our mistaken belief in a fixed and separate self. We become trapped in a cycle of seeking approval from others to bolster our sense of self-worth. So how can we break free from this cycle? Buddhism offers the practice of mindfulness as a powerful tool for self-awareness. By observing our thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment, we can begin to unravel the underlying causes of our need for external validation. This process of self-inquiry helps us to cultivate inner peace and contentment, independent of external circumstances. Buddhism also teaches the importance of cultivating loving kindness and compassion towards ourselves. Instead of seeking validation from others, we can learn to validate ourselves with kindness and self-compassion. Through practices such as loving kindness meditation, we can develop a sense of inner worthiness and self-acceptance. Additionally, Buddhism encourages us to let go of attachment to external outcomes and achievements. Instead of measuring our worth by external standards, we can find fulfillment in the present moment by aligning our actions with our values and intentions. Success, from a Buddhist perspective, is not measured by external accolades, but by our ability to live with wisdom, compassion, and integrity. Number 9. Tolerance of negative environments. It's like finding ourselves in a dense forest where the air is heavy, the path unclear, and every step feels like a struggle. Whether it's a toxic workplace that drains our spirit or personal relationships that leave us feeling undervalued, the decision to stay often stems from a deep-seated belief that we don't deserve better. But here's where Buddhism offers us both a mirror and a map. Buddhism teaches that our environment can significantly influence our ability to find contentment. However, it also emphasizes our responsibility in shaping our surroundings and choosing our associations wisely. The Buddha reminds us that our inner peace is not determined by our external circumstances, but by our responses to them. Why do we tolerate negative environments? Often it's because we underestimate our capacity for change. We might fear the unknown, cling to the familiar, or doubt our worth. Buddhism challenges these fears and doubts by encouraging us to recognize our inherent value and the power we possess over our choices and attitudes. It urges us to question the belief that we are trapped and to realize that more often than not, we have the agency to change our circumstances or our perception of them. Buddhism offers us tools to navigate and transform our environments. One key Buddhist practice is the cultivation of inner resilience and autonomy. This doesn't mean adopting a stance of indifference or detachment. Rather, it's about strengthening our inner peace so that we can remain steady and true to our values, even in the midst of chaos and negativity. By fostering a strong inner core, we become less susceptible to the toxicity of our surroundings and more capable of making choices that align with our well-being. Another Buddhist principle that can guide us is the idea of living in the present moment, which includes seeking harmony within ourselves and our environments. This means actively seeking out or creating environments that are conducive to our growth, health, and happiness. It's about recognizing that we are deserving of respect, kindness, and positive interactions, and making the conscious decision to not settle for less. In practical terms, seeking environments that nurture our growth might involve setting boundaries in personal relationships, seeking new opportunities in our careers, or even changing our social circles to include more supportive and positive influences. It also means investing time and energy into cultivating a personal environment through practices like mindfulness meditation, self-reflection, or engaging in activities that support our mental and emotional well-being. Number 10. Fear of pursuing dreams. Why does fear have such a hold on us? Often it's because we're acutely aware of what we stand to lose. Our minds paint vivid pictures of failure, of time and effort wasted, of the judgment we might face from others. Buddhism acknowledges these fears but invites us to ask ourselves, what do we stand to gain? It encourages us to weigh our fears against the potential for growth, fulfillment, and the realization of our dreams. Buddhism teaches us that the pursuit of understanding, compassion, and enlightenment is in itself a worthy endeavor, regardless of the outcome. One of the practices that can help us overcome the fear of pursuing our dreams is mindfulness. This involves contemplating the worst-case scenarios, not to dwell on them, but to diminish their power over us by considering the potential hardships and accepting that we can endure them. We often find that our fears are less daunting than we imagined. This doesn't mean we become reckless or heedless of risks, but rather that we approach our dreams with a balanced perspective, recognizing that failure, while possible, is not the end, but a step in our journey of growth. Another Buddhist principle that can embolden us to chase our dreams is the concept of impermanence. This is the idea of embracing the transient nature of life and understanding that everything is subject to change. When we pursue our dreams guided by this understanding, we open ourselves up to the full spectrum of experiences, successes, failures, joys and disappointments, all of which are integral to the human experience. This acceptance frees us from the paralyzing grip of fear and allows us to move forward with courage and determination. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of acting in accordance with our own virtues and potential. It reminds us that our true worth is not measured by external achievements, but by our commitment to living virtuously, to striving towards our goals with integrity, diligence, and courage. In this light, the fear of pursuing our dreams is not just a barrier to success, it's a barrier to living a life that's truly ours. Number 11, feeling unworthy of happiness. This feeling can stem from a variety of sources: past traumas, societal conditioning, or personal failures. We compare our journey to others, seeing only the highlight reels of their lives, while being acutely aware of the behind the scenes of our own. This comparison, fueled by the misconception that happiness is a finite resource awarded only to the deserving, leads us to doubt our worthiness. Buddhism encourages us to dismantle these misconceptions and to recognize that happiness is not a reward, but a way of living. It invites us to reflect on our values, to align our actions with these values, and to find joy in the pursuit of virtue and the practice of mindfulness. Buddhism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions and reactions, and to let go of what isn't. This perspective empowers us to take charge of our happiness, to create it through our daily choices and attitudes. How can we embrace this Buddhist approach to happiness? It starts with changing our narrative about worthiness. We must challenge the belief that happiness is conditional on achievements, external validation, or perfection. Instead, we should view happiness as inherent in the practice of living mindfully, in making the best choices available to us, and in appreciating the present moment. Additionally, Buddhism teaches the importance of gratitude. By practicing gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, from perceived inadequacies to the abundance present in our lives. This shift in perspective is crucial in feeling deserving of happiness, as it allows us to see the beauty, opportunity, and potential in our everyday lives. Buddhism reminds us of the significance of community and support. Happiness is not a solitary journey. By fostering meaningful relationships, by supporting and being supported, we recognize that our worthiness of happiness is affirmed not just by ourselves, but by the collective wisdom and love of those around us. As we journey together through the wisdom of Buddhism, let us carry with us the understanding that our lives are canvases upon which we have the power to paint with the vibrant colors of virtue, resilience, and happiness. Remember, you are the architect of your own destiny, the sculptor of your own happiness. The path may be strewn with challenges, but it is also lined with the potential for immense growth, joy, and fulfillment. You are deserving of happiness, capable of achieving your dreams, and worthy of every bit of love and success that comes your way. If these words resonate with you, ignite a spark of recognition, or stir curiosity within you, consider sharing this message with your friends. Let's spread wisdom far and wide, empowering others to recognize their worth and pursue happiness with courage. If you'd like to receive more uplifting content, feel free to subscribe and share the love.